Great to have Chris Scott from the Geelong Football Club as our special guest tonight on Footy Classified. Welcome, Scotty.
Thanks, Ed.
Great to have
be
you,
here,
mate. And you're looking fit and well.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. It's been, I've got a bit of a post-COVID bump like the rest of us, I hope.
I hope so too, mate. Caro?
Chris, we understand you've now committed to the Geelong Football Club for another 3 years. Congratulations. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, thanks, Carol. I'm really excited. I mean, it's not new. It's really been, like, in my mind, agreed to for a long time. Even back before Steve Hocking came in as CEO, Brian Cook and the board were working on it. But I mean, I felt it was prudent to wait until Steve was in the chair to make sure that we're aligned. We have a great relationship, but I don't think anyone's under any illusions that Steve will do things his way. And the last, whatever it is, 4 or 5 months have been kind of rejuvenating for me in a way. I've really enjoyed what he's brought to our footy club, and there's just a real air of optimism around the place, and I'm feeling that too.
So I'll get to Steve in a moment. I just want to take you back almost a year to what you said in that very seat almost a year ago.
But his career as a coach is over, but it doesn't need to be. Would you like to see him do it?
No.
No? Why?
I wouldn't, because it's not a very good job, to be honest.
Why do you say that?
It's a big statement.
Yeah, no, it's just hard work.
What's your concerns most?
No, it's just a stressful existence.
That was obviously your comments regarding your brother Brad, and a good excuse to show what your hair was like.
So that's why we're in good, mate. Well, it's gone.
But quite seriously, did you forget the fact that you wanted to wait till there was a new CEO, and we'll get to him. Did you think about not signing?
No, well, I was committed to 22 anyway.
Yes, but did you think about not extending?
The extension. No, I didn't. I didn't think. It was more about sort of working through, a little bit of a process. And I probably should explain my comments. I mean, Ross would know it as well as anyone, even Lloydie from the playing perspective. Like, anything worthwhile, comes with struggle. And the specific question about my brother, you're almost prepared to put yourself through things that you don't really want others to go through. And the reality of our job, aside from the day-to-day difficulties, is you've got to put your emotions on the line. You kind of put yourself on the line all the time, and the likelihood is that you're going to come up short, and that is really tough. But in terms of the process I went through, and I've been through it a number of times in my decade or so at the Cats, it was a process of talking to the key people, and it's like, is this still working for us? Do you think that I'm still the right person? And
which key people?
Well, Steve, when he came in, Brian Cook before that, Simon Lloyd, our footy manager, and probably half a dozen of our key players. And I was overwhelmed by the support from those people. And the support that I get at the Cats and have got for, over a decade is amazing to me. I love the place. I can't really see myself coaching for the rest of my life. I've never said I would be a career coach. But right at the moment, if it continues like this, I'm up and about. Well, get me back in 4 weeks and I'll...
Let's put up some stats to show that why you should be a career coach, because you made a pretty good career of it. Premiership the first year, elimination final the second, then 5 preliminary finals in amongst it, 1 missed final. And let's not forget, this is in a period where we've had COVID, where we've got the draft, where we've had other clubs' salary cap go from 92% back up to 100, which led to other clubs come in, and it certainly helped Melbourne and the Dogs belatedly to have a chance at winning flags. You've withstood all that. Your system works.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that our club should be most proud of over the last decade especially is that those results have come throughout a rebuild. So we have, from that 2011 premiership, we've got Joel Selwood and Tom Hawkins. Mitch Duncan might have played a quarter in that game. But the whole list has been rebuilt, and it hasn't been rebuilt off the back of top 5 or top 10 picks. There are some really good stories in there. Mark Blitzarves is a Category B rookie. Tom Stewart playing local footy. He was almost lost to the game. Mark O'Connor, an Irishman. It hasn't been built a lot. I must say, it's a bit painful watching you go through the Bulldogs and Melbourne and seeing that centre square. I mean, if you're pick 6 in the draft in there, you're an outlier.
Yeah. Well, they're 1s and 2s over everyone.
Yeah, but that's not a comment other than to say I think our club and the people involved with our list management team should be proud of the fact that we say to our players every year, we're going to give you a chance to contend. No guarantees, but that's our aim. Now, does that leave us in a position where, over the long term, you're sort of going to face some challenges? And clearly we're going to face some challenges over the next period of time, but I would argue that those same things were being brought up 10 years ago as well.
Well, there's some young coaches in the game. There's Justin Longmuir, I hear Noble. We're chasing sustained success. Now, they haven't had one final series yet. By any definition, 10 final series, 5 prelims, a premiership and a grand final is sustained success. Now, you've got it, and you're being criticised that from external people, and maybe some Geelong people, they've been so spoiled that their KPI is a premiership, which is a 5.5% chance of happening. So, and lastly, do you think that, obviously that's supportive of your record and what you've done, but do you think that it's a not enjoyable job? Do you think that was compounded because of the COVID, the stress and the duration that you went through during that period? Yeah, well, even, you know the feeling well. I came straight from the MCG that night. Like, you got me at a good time. Like, when you lose a game, you see the coach, you know, in their worst mood, you know, of the week. But I won't back away from the comments. Like, one might argue that I'm too honest at times, but that's kind of how I felt in the moment. And there was a little bit of the post-COVID stuff. It's been a hard year on a lot of people, and some great footy people have suffered. We've suffered that a little bit in our club. We've lost a lot of people who have just, in part, kind of said, I've had enough. And in some ways, especially, you know, I feel for the assistants. In some ways, they're kind of saying, I can live a better life and get paid more doing something else. And
we're going to ask this, Lordy, I know you've got a question coming, but it's just timely. Your brother's now the head of football operations. If you had a brother's pick for one thing, would it be take the foot off our throat as far as the footy soft cap's concerned? Because the only people who haven't come back from the COVID restrictions have been the football departments.
That's the confusing thing for a lot of people, and I don't really want to be the spokesperson for this, but if you just take a step back and have a look at it, I'm a massive advocate for the players. I still think they're underpaid. So if we gave up 30% and it went to the players, I could live with that, no problems. But if you look, you know, even in the administration in footy clubs, a lot of people are back, but the footy department's not. So that's sort of an open-ended question, and I suspect what the AFL are saying is that we're going to leave enough room for kind of clubs to manage themselves as they see fit, albeit with a cap. And that's probably what I mean when I say Steve Hocking coming in. We've got a great president in Craig Drummond, you know, just good people to be around. Like with Morris Finance, you know, our coaches sponsor, like that. We had 2 years not having really any involvement with those key people in our footy club. Sort of getting back in the community, sort of representing our club, I think has given us a new lease of life. So the short, that's kind of the long answer of saying maybe we just need to be a bit more entrepreneurial.
Maybe get a bit more focused on the key part, and that is get the best available players and people in the football departments.
Chris, you touched on assistants. You've had a big turnover, haven't you, over the past off-season? We take a look at the graphics. Some big names have left your football club. Obviously, you know, Matty Scarlett down the bottom, Corey Enright, Matthew Knight, and the whole new wave led by James Kelly. Obviously, Matty Egan's come to the club, Eddie Betts. As tough as that's been to lose guys who have been brilliant for you, how good has it been for the players and yourself to have some fresh ideas come in? Do you have to change the way you've played at all moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about, you know, how we can keep evolving, and you know, I think it's unfair to kind of lump the 3 assistants that left into one. They all kind of had their own individual set of circumstances. But
did you fall out with Matthew Scarlett?
No, not at all. No, I had a great relationship.
That's a suggestion
with those guys.
That it ended badly.
Yeah, not you might know more than I do, but I doubt it.
Well, that's why I'm asking you the question.
Yeah. No. We had a great relationship. Like those 3 guys that have gone, again, I could speak for half an hour and talk about the individual situations in depth, but no, I coached Matty Scarlett to a premiership in 2011. I'll always share a special bond with him in particular, Corey Enright as well. But with change, and the change with the COVID situation was forced upon us in a way, there comes a fresh set of eyes, and we have unapologetically gone back to some people we knew to be good people, some ex-Geelong people, and we've brought them in with a view to kind of moulding the roles kind of around their strengths. Some people that have been around footy for a long time, Harry Taylor, for example, but haven't worked in a footy department, which, as you know, like the change is quite significant. Just because you're a good player doesn't make you a good coach or a good administrator. So the fresh set of eyes has brought, you know, a sense of optimism around the place. We're aware of our challenges. Like anyone that would bring up the things that might be difficult for us over the next few years, I'm kind of likely to agree with them. But internally, we're optimistic that we can overcome those challenges. That's what's kind of got me up and about.